grim warning from former President Donald Trump, who says his people, quote, get extremely angry with what's happening. That's ahead of Monday, when for the first time in history, a former American president will stand criminal trial. Trump is accused of trying to buy the silence of a porn star, Stormy Daniels, he allegedly had an affair with. Trump denies the claims and has tried to delay the proceedings time and again. But with just days left, that tried and true or somewhat true strategy is running out of runway. Earlier this week, his last-ditch effort to delay failed for the third time in 3 days. This morning, we should note, the U.S. Secret Service says it is ready to go to provide protection for the former president, adding that it will, quote, not seek any special accommodations outside of what would be required to ensure the continued safety of the former president. Meantime, Trump is on a Truth Social tirade, railing against the case, the judge, and the entire system of justice in this country, crying witch hunt and spewing lies about President Biden's alleged involvement, unproven involvement, and uninvolvement in the prosecution. Obviously, that is not true. Joining me now on all of this, CNN legal analyst and former Obama White House ethics czar Norm Eisen. He's also the author of the new book. You need to check it out, Trying Trump, a guide to his first election interference criminal trial. And Norm, I mean, that sums up your feelings on this case. You've created a handbook for this trial. Walk us through it, because the canard that you hear out there is that, well, this one is just not that important. It's not as important as January 6th. And so this is an important trial, and there could be very big consequences for the former president.
That's true, Jim. And that's why I wrote Trying Trump, to give both sides of the question. Is this just a personal peccadillo, as Trump, I think, will argue, his defense case, just an affair, and they wrote some wrong words down on some papers. They called it legal fees instead of repayment of funds to Michael Cohen? Or is this a case, as Judge Marchand is going to read to the jury when they come in? This is New York law. He is going to say, the allegations are that Donald Trump entered an agreement with others to, quote, unlawfully influence the 2016 presidential election. So the stakes in this debate, and I fully ventilate Trump's side of the story in the book, and the trial will be about which of these two visions is right. But the stakes in this debate are, was this pattern of actions where $130,000 benefited the Trump campaign, allegedly, in an election that was decided by 80,000 votes across 3 states. Another sex scandal was hidden right after Access Hollywood, could have swung that election. That pattern of deceiving voters to change an election outcome, of course, that's the same pattern as the Jack Smith case in 2020, as the Fonnie Willis case in 2020. That's Alvin Bragg's view, that this is an important campaign, election, and democracy case.
And I do want to mention, because Trump has been very vocal on the Truth Social platform. He has made some comments that I think are disturbing. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I was recently informed that another corrupt New York judge, Juan Merchan, gagged me. That's gagged like you can't talk. These cases are all rigged. It sounds fair, doesn't it, to be gagged, but it's not. It virtually never happens. It only happens to me because I'm able to tell people what's happening, and those people get extremely angry with what's happening. This judge should be recused, and the case should be thrown out. He's totally conflicted. There's never been a judge more conflicted than this one.
He keeps going after the judge, calling him conflicted and so on, but there's that moment in that video that we play right there. We don't play all of his Truth Social tirades, but when he talks about his people getting extremely angry.
Yes.
Sounds like a veiled threat. Once again.
Remember, 2020, January 6th, he tweeted, "Will be wild." And then the words on the ellipse that are charged as incitement in the January 6th case, although in a different form. He's not charged with insurrection. He's charged with, again, just like the 2016 case, a conspiracy to unlawfully influence the election, and of course, innocent until proven guilty. But Jim, in that context, with the repeated history of his words leading to risk and danger and violence. That's why this gag order is in place. Contrary to what he said, it's not unusual. And when he says his people get angry, that should be a flashing red light.
Well, and that's why I wonder, heading into Monday, what is Trump going to try to do to derail this? I mean, I suppose one of the last things that he could possibly do is try to provoke the judge to the extent that the judge has to take action. Could that potentially interfere with the proceedings?
I don't think Judge Marchand is going to let it. I counted, and many of these are documented in
You think he's probably expecting that?
In trying Trump. I counted his delay efforts, 11 efforts to delay this trial. 3 more this week alone on venue, on child, suing the judge over the gag order, suing the judge over presidential immunity, which really makes no sense. It has no place in this case. He's desperate. He'll try more, undoubtedly, next week. I don't think it's going to work. And the question we have to ask ourselves, and again, the book is a deep dive into this, both sides of this question, Jim. Why is Trump so frantically fighting this case if it is, as some say, the least important or just merely a personal peccadillo? He knows that these are serious felonies. He knows if he is convicted, if Alvin Bragg makes the case to the jury, but to the court of public opinion, if he's convicted of election interference here, if Bragg proves that case, he's facing not only the harm of a conviction, but a possible sentence of jail time. That would be devastating. That's why he's trying to delay.
And the polls have shown if there is a conviction, it could really have an impact on this race. Norm Eisen, as always, thanks so much. Make sure to check out Norm's book. Really appreciate it. Also happening today, House Speaker Mike Johnson will join Donald Trump for a joint news conference at Mar-a-Lago later today about the upcoming presidential election. The 2 Republican leaders are set to talk about, quote, election integrity, despite the fact that Trump's own administration officials, will remind you, said the previous presidential election was the most secure in American history. And to add some context, Johnson was a key congressional figure in Trump's failed effort to overturn President Biden's victory in 2020. CNN's Kristen Holmes joins us now from West Palm Beach, Florida. This should be quite a show. Kristen, what do we know about this news conference?
Well, we're heard that they're going to talk about 2 things. One thing is that they are expected to relitigate the 2020 election, which isn't that surprising since both of them tried to overturn that election. Johnson was actually key behind the scenes trying to get these congressional signatures on a lawsuit in Texas that would have tried to overturn the election in various states. But the other big thing that they're going to be talking about is this idea of non-citizens voting. There's been a conversation about whether they're going to present some kind of bill, but we know that they're going to, quote unquote, draw attention to this issue. Now, I want to be very clear, Jim. There's currently a federal ban on non-citizens voting in federal elections. So that is a non-issue. But we've seen Republicans really use this as a rallying cry, starting with the former president himself. He has actually gone as far to say that Democrats want undocumented citizens coming across the border to help them in the 2024 election. Obviously, there is no evidence of that at all. Now, one thing I do want to make clear here is that there are some states in which various cities have moved forward on passing legislation that would allow non-citizens to vote in particular local elections. Again, not federal elections, which is what these 2 men deal with, but in local elections like a school board election. But now what you're seeing is various states coming forward and putting forward these laws that say non-citizens cannot vote in elections. So this, again, has become a rallying cry, particularly as immigration has risen to a top concern of voters in 2024.
And Kristen, sources say that this event was Johnson's idea. I mean, I suppose it comes at a time when there are all these questions about whether he can hang on to the speaker's gavel.
Yeah, and Jim, one of the things to keep in mind here is Donald Trump has not come out to support Johnson, but he's also not come out to support Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate. It seems unlikely that he wants to get involved on either side because, I am told by sources, he doesn't want another speaker's fight, but he also is very close to Marjorie Taylor Greene. So this is an opportunity for Johnson to stand alongside Donald Trump at his home at Mar-a-Lago talking about something that Donald Trump wants to talk about, which is elections. This is giving him a boost at a time where he really needs it.